I have been covering White Houses for 30 years. The first time I actually got to see a presidential return was back in 1990 with George H.W. Bush. And I have to confess that I have never seen a White House return from Marine One and the president going back to the White House quite like the stagecraft that President Trump put on tonight. And of course, because it was President Trump, there was controversy. What I want to do over the next few minutes is I'm going to show you the actual tape of the president getting off Marine One and walking in, then taking off the mask at the top of the balcony. Then I'm going to show you what the president said once he got inside and turned into essentially a minute and a half speech. And then I'm going to show you the campaign commercial that President Trump and his team put together based on all of this. Again, all within the last couple of hours. And again, in the 30 years that I've been watching this stuff, I have never seen anything quite like this. And of course, it's already controversial, as so many people are pointing out. So with that, let's go ahead. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and show you now. This is the tape of President Trump returning to the White House from Walter Reed. And as you know, he has COVID-19. He was diagnosed on Thursday. He spent Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the hospital. He is back now at the White House. Melania, the First Lady, she has COVID-19. Kayleigh McEnany, the White House press person, she has COVID-19, as does two of her deputies. So it is a remarkable situation tonight at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But let's start. Here is the video of President Trump returning to the White House about an hour and a half ago. Watch. All right, this is all standard. Getting off the helicopter, Marine One walking across the South Lawn. Little handshake. Here it is again. Now, once the president went inside, the president had the cameras waiting for him. Again, the president made some remarks. He had the cameras waiting for him. So here's what the president said once he got inside and they framed the shot. Here it is. Watch. I just left. of course, and I just have my microphone on mute the entire time, so that doesn't help anybody. But anyway, here's what so there you have the president. He delivered his remarks. Sorry about the mute button there. I'm getting used to all this. The president had his remarks, and again, political strategists are saying, had it not been for President Trump tearing off his mask, that might have been an absolutely beautiful, brilliant, triumphant return. But instead, he has created controversy tonight because the president pulled off a mask going into a building where there's lots of support staff and aides who do not have COVID yet, but there's the president. Everybody in the world knows the president has COVID-19. Now, as I was saying when I had my mute button on, the president's campaign has now turned this into a campaign video. That's right, a campaign video. Let's watch this. Here it is. Wow. I mean, what do you say to that? It was, I mean, the stagecraft, again, that the president of the United States pulled off, unlike anything I've ever seen. And again, I've been covering White House returns for 30 years, back to George W. Bush in 1990, the Clintons in 92 to 2000, George W. Bush, Barack Obama. I have yet to cover President Trump at the White House, but I must say, I've never seen anything quite like this, whether it's in person or on videos we saw tonight. The stagecraft was brilliant, except even according to Republicans tonight, ruined by the president ripping off the mask as he was there standing on the balcony. Republican tonight was telling me he had done everything he needed to do to try to show the American people that he's got vigor, that he's strong, that he's beating this thing. He walked up the stairs by himself. Now, there's some people who say, oh, he was huffing and puffing, he was out of breath. I didn't see that, but we'll have a conversation about that. But he had achieved what he needed to achieve, according to this Republican, until that moment where the president takes off his mask outside. He could have taken it off inside before he delivered that little sort of speech, but no, he had to do it on the balcony, and the controversy is raging tonight. So what I want to do is, we've got a lot of people who are chatting now here on the Haps TV and through Twitter. I've got a special hello from, I'm putting my glasses to make sure I read all of this. So we have, let's see, a little bit, looks like we got trolled by Robert De Niro. Okay, it was all staged. Yes, environmentalists, it was all staged. He was always out of breath. Lots of love, according to Chrissy. Hello from Peter. Hello to you. Look, my view of this is that, sure, even if he was a little bit out of breath, so what? I mean, the point, the political point, and here we are, 28 days, 29 days until November the 3rd. 29 days until the end of this presidential campaign. And there is a theme out there that right now, according to President Trump, he's fearful that the public and his aides, they would tell you this openly. His aides are fearful that he looks weak, that the guy who always likes to be the ultimate strong man, that he looks weak. And so they staged this incredibly triumphant return to show that the president can walk under his own power, that he can walk back into the White House. And look, there's an elevator. When you go through from that Rose Garden there into the White House, there's an elevator if the president wanted to go into that door that he normally goes into and take him upstairs. But no, he wanted to show everybody he can walk up the stairs himself. So he did it. And that was political brilliance and stagecraft brilliance. But at the top of the stairs, and he's standing there and he's holding his jacket, and then to take off the mask. Wow. And that gets to the recklessness that so many Americans seem to feel about this president. That this is a president who's got a knack for stagecraft. He's got a knack for the visuals, but he is his own worst enemy. So curious what all of you think. And I got, when people say it was hilarious, we've got Dew who says, stay tuned. So what? Is there a fireman rod? I don't know what that means. You make ignorance fashionable. Thank you. I appreciate it. I am pretty fashionable. I've got some Greed David waiting for walking up the. You know what? Let's do this, because so many of you, there's this debate now that's running over social media about was the president out of breath when he walked up the stairs or not. So I'm going to play this for you again, and here it is, so you can see it yourself, and you judge. You can tell me in real time. Do you think that the president was out of breath or not? Don't even get me started in the media. I hear ya. Blue Angels and stairs. Okay. Look, look, this part is brilliant. Although, you know what? I'm gonna practice, and the reason I'm gonna do that is because I wonder if the president forgot to salute. I wonder if the president forgot to salute the Marine when he got off Air Force One. Let's do this when he got off Marine One. Let's do this again. Here it is. Here's the president stepping off Marine One. Take a close look. Says thank you to the pilots. Walks down the stairs. Nope. Okay, he got the salute in. That's fine. He's walking across the south lawn. Little wave. I'll turn down my microphone so you can hear, so it's not. Okay, so the White House pool reporter, and again, each time that the president returns to the White House, and there he goes up the stairs, each time the president returns to the White House, one of the networks and a network reporter and a news agency like a Reuters or AP representative, and now the Washington Post or New York Times, there's probably 3 or 4 different reporters who are out there along with the camera, and that was one of the reporters shouting, Mr. President, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? And he gives a little wave. That was the right question to ask. The president goes up the stairs to show everybody how strong he is, and he goes out onto the balcony. This part is brilliant. Anybody who thought that the president is weak, all right, you've got these images until now. This is the part where Republican strategists tonight are just slamming their head against the wall, because the whole point is that the president is reckless. Never mind that he's strong, but the rap against him going into this election and going back to the debate a week ago was that the president is bombastic, that he's reckless, that he's a bull in a china shop. And that's exactly the image that so many people are seeing tonight when there's the president standing on a balcony, which, we're not really used to our presidents, our leaders in the United States standing on a balcony. We'll play it on another loop. Standing on a balcony and saluting, and, that's sort of like a pope or like a dictator, some people would suggest. But, okay, the point was the president was able to get up the stairs by himself. But again, to that point at which he rips off the mask, he had it all tonight. He was changing the message. He was changing the image, the perception of him as being weak, until he got to that point where he ripped off the mask. Now, I can already see that there's some people on social media. Some people on social media say, look, his base is going to love this. They want to show that the president's not afraid. The president's not afraid to go into the White House without a mask. And yeah, I get all that. But the fact of the matter is there are a lot of people in the White House tonight who are very afraid of being around that building because the number of people who have been infected with COVID-19. Never by the president, but you've also got the Republican National Committee director. You've got the spokesperson, Kayleigh McEnany. You've got 2 of her top aides. So there's a siege mentality in the White House right now regarding this disease. They don't know who's going to get it next. For the president to actually go inside, again, this is brilliant. Walking up the stairs, showing his strength, trying to convince everybody, at least in terms of stagecraft, that he's strong, that he's got vigor. That's fine until this point, and then he takes off the mask. It's his home. If you're scared, quit. Well, the fact of the matter is it's also a working environment. It's an environment where you've got literally hundreds of White House staff and support staff who are career civil servants who do everything from prepare the food to do the laundry to keep the grounds. And what about their safety? Does their safety not matter? And let's see, who's telling me this? This is AWOL Bubba. AWOL Bubba, I'm responding to you, and you've got a message right here on Twitter, and great to have you. But does it not matter what the health of the staff who's there? Does it not matter if some of the other aides in the White House West Wing who don't have this yet, who are afraid? Do their feelings, does their health not matter? Yeah, I get it. You may think it's his house, but the fact of the matter is it's actually the people's house. This is a house that belongs to the United States, to the United States government, to the people, to the taxpayers. And because the taxpayers have decided that the president can live in this White House and with all these wonderful things about it, the person who was duly elected by the people of the United States gets to live there if he so chooses. And every president, at least as long as the White House has been around, has decided to live there. But there's also usually been some sort of understanding about the staff. And again, it gets to something, for example, last night. There was the president riding around with the Secret Service in an SUV, not the normal beast in the motorcade, but he rode around Walter Reed because he wanted to say hello to some of his staffers, to some of his supporters that were out there. Okay. But the problem is there are members of the Secret Service who don't yet have COVID-19. And what precautions were taken to try to keep the Secret Service safe. Now you might say, oh, well, these SUVs, there must have been some sort of plexiglass. No, in this particular SUV that the Secret Service has, there's no divider between the president and the Secret Service agents in front. In the Beast, the normal presidential limousine, sure, the president has his own ventilation system in the back. So, okay, you can make the argument if he walks out and gets into the Beast and drives around, okay, at least the Secret Service agents up front, they're safe. But is there safety when you're in a hermetically sealed SUV with somebody who has COVID-19 who was just diagnosed last Thursday? Let's get to some of your questions. And let's see. Being discharged doesn't mean that he isn't infectious. That's a fair rest. You're correct. AWOL Bubba, I don't wear a mask in my home either. Okay, but that's your home. This is the people's home. He says the Secret Service agents will take a bullet for him, but they are scared of a virus that almost everyone recovers from. Give me a break. Well, you know what? The fact of the matter is several secret agents would take a bullet for the President of the United States, but that's because there is a direct threat that sometimes is not stoppable. What the Secret Service agents, who are speaking anonymously because they can't speak on the record, are saying tonight is that this was reckless of the President of the United States to put Secret Service agents in danger, that the President didn't have to put Secret Service agents in danger. And if somebody opens fire on the President of the United States, sure, there's a dangerous situation, and the Secret Service agents will do whatever they can to try to protect the health and safety of the President of the United States, even if it means throwing themselves in front of the bullets. But this didn't have to be last night. It didn't have to be that the president had to ride around in an SUV. He didn't have to go say hello to his supporters and wave through a window. He didn't have to put the Secret Service agents in an SUV within a couple of feet in a hermetically sealed vehicle where he has COVID-19. Now, I suppose it's possible. Maybe the Secret Service agents, the ones that they put up front in that SUV, maybe they already had COVID-19. Maybe they're immune. It would be nice to hear that from the Secret Service. We've asked, and the Secret Service has not said anything about it. Now, let's go back to the other thing that happened tonight. I want to play again what the president's remarks were regarding once he got into the White House, and it was beautifully framed, by the way. His remarks. Look, I'm not. I think from a political analysis standpoint, what the president said about don't be afraid of COVID-19. Sure, that's fine. And it was well framed. It was beautifully lit. It was, again, the stagecraft is incredible. And the words were fine. I think most American people wouldn't necessarily disagree with what the president said here. Watch.
I just left.
My bad. Muted again. I'll learn. Anyway, so what was I saying a minute and a half ago before I muted? Sorry to everybody. I'm still getting used to all this. And we have this thing where if I don't mute myself when I play some of the video, you'll start to hear it on an echo. So I just have to get used to this idea that I got to unmute myself. But anyway, Adam, thanks for that. So what I was saying is I take back what I said a moment ago about everybody agreeing with what the president said in those remarks. I think most things people would agree. Sure, you don't want any disease, you don't want any virus to dominate your life if possible. You don't want it to interfere. That's great. Don't be afraid. Sure, it's great if we can all go through life and we're not afraid. The problem is when the president says, maybe I'm immune, who knows? Well, we do know that with COVID-19, when somebody is test positive for this, that usually, and after the first symptoms and they test positive, usually the problems come when they're about 7 to 10 days in. That's when it can get really worse. In the first couple of days, you may have some symptoms, then you get better, then you get worse, and you get better, then you get really worse again. Well, the president hasn't quite reached that stage. If he first tested positive on Thursday, as the White House insists, and he hasn't reached that 7-day point yet. So he hasn't reached the stage at which people tend to show the most serious complications. Now, there are a lot of questions about, the president's blood oxygen, and because he wasn't breathing as easily as somebody should, that's why they gave him dexamethasone, which is one of the treatments that they give usually to people who have serious complications from COVID-19. Well, no. The president, if everything was great, maybe he wouldn't have needed dexamethasone or remdesivir. That's the kind of medication that's given to people with serious complications or who doctors fear are about to get serious complications. So, again, brilliant stagecraft. And here's the political ad that the Trump campaign put together. Some people here are going to laugh about all of this. I'm going to put up your comments. But here is the political ad the president put together. Okay, I'll be honest. I'm not such a fan of the music. To me, it feels like 1990s triumphant kind of music. But look, this is how the Trump campaign does things. It's not a terrible political ad, and the president is trying to make the most of what he's got. But again, the video that is going to be played over and over and over again over the next for the next part of the news cycle, at least through the morning shows tomorrow, is going to be the video President Trump taking off his mask. And that's going to be the debate. Should the president have taken off his mask? We are having this debate right now. We have some people say it's his house. Actually, it's the people's house. And you've got a lot of people who work in that house who are not part of the Trump campaign, who are people who are butlers and cooks and chefs and all sorts of folks who have spent years working in the White House. And what about their safety? There are a lot of questions from people who are asking questions tonight. Like International Peach says, David, would you take the vaccine? Wow, International Peach. I have to say that I think I would take the vaccine. I think once the vaccine has been FDA approved, I'm satisfied that once the scientists and the Food and Drug Administration say that it's safe, I would take the vaccine. In part because, look, my own family, we have some health concerns and health issues that we're vulnerable to. So we're like a lot of people. We have to try to outrun this thing and make sure that nobody gets the virus. And so we're in rural Connecticut as opposed to New York City or Washington, D.C. Rural Connecticut, we don't mix and mingle with anybody because we've got issues in our family. And it's be very bad, we think, for some members of our family if anybody gets the virus. So we're essentially out here until there is a vaccine. And so, look, once the scientists say that there is a vaccine, I would take it. We've got more questions. Criticize Trump no matter what. That is what the Democratic media strategy is. Well, look, there's if you're talking about Democratic media strategy, and this one comes from, Renegade, Democratic media. I'm not quite sure who you're referring to, but I will just say that, there is going to be a divide even among Republicans. And I'll tell you what, there was an ABC Ipsos poll that came out earlier today, Renegade, this is for you, in which people were asked, did President Trump take the appropriate precautions to protect his own health? 45% of Republicans said no. 95% of Democrats said no, maybe not unexpected, but you put that together, 72%, nearly 3 out of 4 Americans said the president did not take the appropriate precautions to protect his own health. It gets to a theme as to why he's vulnerable against Joe Biden. That is because there's a sense that this president is reckless. Again, that he's a bull in a china shop, that he's somebody who can't control himself. And you look again at tonight, and I'll play the video for you guys again. I think this was some of the most brilliant stagecraft that I've seen. Sorry, wrong video. Some of the most brilliant stagecraft that you will ever see for a White House return, and a historic moment. Think about it, the last time that a president faced a serious challenge, health challenge. I don't know, maybe Ronald Reagan. I remember covering when it was the Bethesda Naval Medical Center in the 1990s when Bill Clinton twisted his leg at Greg Norman's house in Florida and needed leg surgery. It's not funny. It wasn't funny to him. But nonetheless, okay. But these sort of serious moments where a president is at Bethesda Naval, or Walter Reed as we call it now, that just doesn't happen very often. So this is a huge event when the president's coming back, and it was brilliant all the way through, all the way until he gets up the stairs, until he takes off the mask. As we're playing the video, I'm sorry if you're on a little bit of a reverb here. Let's see. Can Joe Biden, this is from Park Master 93, can Joe Biden get COVID too, and whoever does better should become president? Okay, that's one way to think about it. An escape from LA, U.S. Healthscape. Let's see. I volunteered for the vaccine trial for AstraZeneca. That's AWOL Bubba. Okay. Hello from Seattle, Peter. Great to see you live here on HAPS. Where was this broadcast when Pelosi had her hair blown? I don't remember your outrage about her putting those poor workers at risk. Well, actually, we did talk about it on Quick Hits News. We did a discussion about the Nancy Pelosi and whether she put some workers at risk. So I'll correct you on that. Let's see. Peter, I like that you're engaging so much with commentators and speaking from experience and opinion. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it. So, again, this is the part that, again, is so controversial for so many people. President without a mask. He could have kept the mask on. All right, we don't need to see that. You want to see that again? Okay, let's see it again. Does he look winded after going up those stairs? Let's see it again. This is from State of Hockey. State of Hockey, this is for you. We're replaying this again. I think this is now the 5th or 6th time. That's okay. Great. Perfect salute. He's walking across, unassisted. So anybody who thinks, the president's winded, he's got lung damage, no, the president is trying to show that he's strong, he's vigorous. Now again, once you get to the White House, the president can go straight inside, essentially the basement, which is where the map room and the state china and all that kind of stuff is, and take an elevator upstairs to the residence. Or the president decides, no, he's going to show everybody how strong he is, that he doesn't have lung damage, even though they won't release any medical details. But so the president decides he's going to go up the stairs. It's brilliant. Regardless of whether you're a Democrat or Republican, this is brilliant. Now, here's where some people debate. Was the president winded or not? I mean, I'm going to make this full so you can see, and I'm glad I'm not on reverb, by the way. Sorry about that. Mispunch. By the way, any of my fellow journalists out there who are watching this, you got to get on HAPS TV. This is great. I mean, I'm doing all this over my computer with loading up some videos. It's really easy. There's an opportunity to chat with other people. Evermore says he's holding in his gut, it looks like. The idea that maybe he's got some oxygen. Okay, well, let's do this. You tell me if you think the President Trump, president of the United States, is carrying oxygen when he returns to the White House. I don't think so. Like, I don't think he's carrying anything. Now, he's been pumped full of steroids. He's probably feeling strong. As anybody who's taken steroids feels, some people feel hopped up. It can create feelings of being grandiose. For some people, it can make you feel depressed. But there's the president. Sorry. All right, so we've seen enough of that. Does he look winded? Would anybody look winded walking up a flight of stairs? Yeah, probably. But again, considering the perception that's been out there for the past couple of days that President Trump has lung damage, that he couldn't breathe on his own, as some people claimed, and we don't have any of that. We do know that the president had to have some oxygen on Friday at the White House before he went to Walter Reed. Okay, so the president is trying to counter this, and the president is trying to show everybody, no, I'm vigorous, I'm healthy, and trying to convince people to forget maybe about the fact that for COVID-19, for people with complications, it tends to come 7 to 10 days in. The president hasn't reached 7 to 10 days, whatever. But putting that aside, this was, again, brilliant stagecraft until the point at which the president took off the mask outside and waved at everybody on the balcony without the mask. Then he goes inside. And look, I get that at some point when he went inside, he was going to have to take off the mask because he was going to speak to the American people through this video that he recorded. We're going to play it for you in just a sec. But he could have walked in with the mask. He could have walked in, and his message would have been pitch perfect, even to people who are his detractors. He took off the mask, and here's what the president then said to the American people. Watch. I just flipped off the mute, so now you can hear me. I'm getting good at this. We all have to learn. By the way, great having these conversations with all of you. And look, I want to be absolutely clear. And people think, picking on Trump's stagecraft. No, I'll be the first to say that the stagecraft of White House returns is not just about President Trump or Barack Obama. I remember, let's see. So the 1990s, when I was at Fox News covering the White House, and at one point I had a family member who visited, and I said, we're part of Fox is part of the pool. Let's go out and watch President Clinton's return to the White House. I believe it was, I don't know, maybe it was he was coming back from some trip. It was in the middle of the week. There really wasn't any particular news that was happening, but it's just, it's remarkable to see Marine One land on the South Lawn, and the president gets off and salutes, and it's spectacular. And on a beautiful Washington D.C. evening, it reminds you of the power of the White House and the power of the presidency. So I was with my family member. I don't want to embarrass her and tell everybody who. And at the precise moment that Bill Clinton gets off the helicopter, inside the White House, in the door, they release Buddy the dog. And Buddy goes running out across the South Lawn. Bill Clinton has taken a couple steps after saluting, and Buddy is there to greet him and is wagging his tail, and Bill Clinton gets down. It was brilliant. It's brilliant. And I guarantee you they have somebody inside the White House. They had somebody for Bill Clinton who knew exactly the precise moment to let Buddy the dog run out to the lawn so that Bill Clinton in front of the cameras would have this great picture of Buddy the dog greeting him. It's awesome. So there's nothing unusual about stagecraft, even with something which would seem rather simple like a White House return. But I've never seen anything like what we saw tonight. And perhaps nothing that has attracted as many eyeballs in anticipation as what Trump was looking at tonight. So it was brilliant and smart for the White House to try to do this up until the point at which the president ripped off his COVID mask at the top of the stairs on the balcony. That seemed like an unforced error. Anyway, I want to get back to a couple of your questions and comments, and we'll get through some of it here. Let's see. Does Trump have a body double? No. 2020 is batshit crazy. Yes. They all seem to love that dog bit. Yes, although Trump, of course, Bubba, I'll remind you, does not have a dog. Let's get some of the other questions. He doesn't look winded, but he does look like he was wincing or something, putting the mask in his pocket. It's hard to tell exactly what that was. He looked uncomfortable anyway. This is from Bigfoot. Look, I mean, whether he's uncomfortable, whether he's wincing, that's a tough debate. But again, up until the point at which he took off the mask, he had a brilliant night until that point. And I'm hearing from Republicans who say this was brilliant stagecraft. This was the perfect message to send until the point at which the president of the United States took off his mask and looked out over everybody. Let's do that one more time. Just in case you missed it, in case you're joining us, I know we've been on now for about 35 minutes. So we're going to end this in just a couple of minutes. But in case you missed it earlier tonight, and again, we're a little bit after 10 o'clock East Coast time, and we're going to end this in a few moments. But in case you missed it, one more time, here's the video of President Trump at his return to the White House. Here it is. Right there. It's like me taking off the glasses. It may feel natural. Take off the glasses so I can, make eye contact with all of you, but I can't see. And what the president is not seeing are all those people in the middle who are trying to decide, is president really too reckless to be president? And this gets to a question that a number of you have been asking tonight. For example, AWOL Bubba, what influence will this have on the election? Shoe liquor, what potential impact do you think this has on the undecided voters? Look, I think until the point at which he ripped off the mask, he was doing great. The president was doing great until he rips off the mask. I mean, he was showing everybody that he's strong. He's showing everybody that he's healthy, that he's vigorous, that he's back. Even though intellectually, so many of us know that, of course, that COVID-19 doesn't really get complicated until a week to 10 days in, especially for somebody's age. But okay, putting that aside, this was all about the imagery. And he had the imagery that he needed until he took off the mask at the top. That's just my view. And so I think it reinforces something that we saw at the debate. Keep in mind, after the debate, when President Trump was interrupting a lot more than Joe Biden, something like 48% of people who watched the debate, or 48% of registered voters felt that Joe Biden won. 41% of people said that Trump won the debate. Most undecided voters said that Joe Biden won. And the reason people, and you look at sort of people who hadn't made up their minds, the thing that turned them off the most was President Trump's interruptions, that he was a bull in a china shop. that he was reckless, that he was over the top. One person in Frank Luntz's famous focus group, Frank Luntz, the Republican pollster for Fox News, said the president looked like he was some sort of crackhead. This was an undecided voter after the debate. The idea that President Trump is reckless, that he's over the top, you don't want to reinforce that. And my view is that we're now, 28 days until the election. This was an opportunity for the president to say, okay, I've had I've got a better understanding of this. I'm going to keep the mask on. I'm going to keep the mask as I go in the White House, but I'm going to show everybody how strong I am. I'm going to show everybody that I've got this beat. It would have been a great message. But when he takes off the mask, it reminds everybody of his recklessness. And that's where I think the problems are for him politically. And by the way, the latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll has President Trump losing to Joe Biden by 14 points. Now, granted, that's a national poll, and I think it's an outlier, as Michael Schur had said earlier today on Quick Hits News. But nonetheless, 14 points. And in a lot of these battleground states, the gap is also getting wider, not narrowing. So anyway, we're going to end it here. 313 live chats from so many of you. Appreciate it. Sorry I couldn't get to all of them. Well, here's one final question. Is Trump the worst president in history? I'm not going to make that judgment. I would assume that not all or undecided voters dislike the mask removal. It can't be 100%. No, you're right. AWOL, you're right. I think there are going to be some people who feel like, it showed some courage or that he's being fearless. But I'm going to bet that most people who are undecided did not like him pulling off the mask, or they're certainly going to hear a lot about it, and they're going to get back to this idea that the president is reckless. One more question. This is from Bubba DeBear. Can you give us your predictions on the Senate races? Who wins the Senate? What close races go which way? Wow, that's a good question. I'm going to bet that Democrats do take the Senate. It's 53-47. I think Democrats will take the Senate. Republicans will hold on to seats like I think Lindsey Graham ends up pulling it out in South Carolina. I think Tom Tillis probably wins in North Carolina because his Democratic opponent has something of a sexting scandal. But I do think senators like Cory Gardner in Colorado, he's going to lose. I think that McSally in Arizona is going to lose to Kelly, Gifford's husband, the former astronaut. He's going to win. He's up by 11 points. So I do think Democrats will take control of the Senate. So we'll see. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks to everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed the live playback of all the video and the sound. We had a lot of fun. We're experimenting with HAPS. HAPS has got some great technology that's coming for all my fellow journalists. This is really easy, easier than I make it. I just have to learn how to unmute myself. But I'm getting there. Anyway, thanks to everybody for watching. I'm David Schuster in Lebanon, Connecticut. Remember, you can always watch our daily show. We publish each day at 5 o'clock on Quick Hits News. You can watch our YouTube channel. We can get it delivered. You can get it delivered right to your inbox. It's free. 5 or 6 of the best network-level journalists I've ever worked with. We all get together each day and talk about the news for 15 or 20 minutes each day. Each of us brings a top story. We react to each other. It's a great broadcast. So anyway, I hope you'll tune in, subscribe to that, and we'll do some more live HAPs throughout this week. Thanks, everybody. What a day. Have a good night.